Imagine stumbling upon a warehouse or a barn containing the rarest and most exquisite automobiles. Super sports cars that shaped the present world of sports cars, now and in the future. These vehicles would definitely go into auction houses and would be worth several millions of dollars. A real collector's item in the exquisite class of rarity. Here are some of the insane sports cars found in barns, and it would shock you that a number of these cars would be able to purchase luxurious mansions in the most exquisite of locations. 1968 Lamborghini Miura P400. This sports car was at the top of the list of all the rare sports cars collected by renowned collector Rudy Klein. His exquisite and modest junkyard is located in southern Los Angeles, where he slowly collected and assembled his automotive gems. While he started his collection during the 60s, he has several Porsches, but none comes close to the Lamborghini Miura P400 production example 159. It probably got the name from the Giallo Miura paint the vehicle's exterior was initially finished with, and the interior of the vehicle being designed with a stunning blue color. The vehicle was finally released from the 46 years of storage in the junkyard and was sold for a whopping sum of $1,325,000 at an auction. For a vintage Lamborghini automobile, trust me, that car is worth way more than that and could possibly be sold for 10 times the price the Miura was released for. Consisting of a 3.9-litre V12 engine and producing an output of about 350 horsepower and about 300 pounds of torque. With a top speed of 163 miles per hour and powering all the way from 0 to 60 in 6.0 seconds, the Lamborghini Miura is considered the first supercar ever made. It became the blueprint for all other supercars in the production company at this time. Lamborghini Espada. Another vehicle in the make of the Black and Gold Bull Company is the Lamborghini Espada. This high-performance supercar produces a torque of about 325 horsepower and is also a V12 engine, having a 4.7-litre engine and producing about 276 pounds of torque. Dutch collector Ad Palman started his vintage car collection about 40 years ago with a notable list of super vehicles at his disposal. Vehicles from notable manufacturers like Maserati, Lancia, Ferrari, Alfa Romeo, Facel Vega, a Jaguar, and even an Aston Martin, not to mention a 1.6-litre Opel Vectra from the year 1998. All this brought his collection to about 230 cars in all, spread over 3 locations. 3 good locations, a church and 2 warehouses. The 4-seater Lamborghini was unrestored, and pretty much unrestored. Wait till Iron Resurrection gets their hands on the vehicle. It'd be like placing the arc reactor into Tony Stark. Most likely due to its unrestored state, the vehicle only fetched about $120,000 when it was placed for auction. The rarity of supercars is what makes them worth so much more than you'd even expect. And this Lambo is no different in that vein, as it still remains a vintage sports car. 1937 Bugatti. Type 57 S Atalante. This supercar was discovered in a much smaller barn that goes by the name Garage in this time and age. It was parked in a garage in the year 1960 and was undiscovered for a lengthy period of time until the owner died in the year 2007. After the owner died, the vehicle was discovered by his family later on, and they put it up for sale for about $3,500,000. But just like real estate, the price of rare supercars goes up the chart when placed underneath the hammer. It was the year 2022, and the vehicle was sold again during an auction for a whopping sum of $22 million, which, as I said in the beginning, is enough to buy some luxurious mansions owned by some renowned celebrities. The Bugatti Type 57S Atalante is a limited edition vehicle with only 17 units of the vehicle ever built. A 3,257 cubic centimeter DOHC inline 8-cylinder engine with a single Stromberg carburetor produces about 170 to 200 horsepower, depending on whether the vehicle has a supercharger or not, a 4-speed manual gearbox, and 4-wheel cable-operated mechanical drum brakes. While being a really old sports car, The Type 57S Atalante is considered by several car heads as the ultimate road-going Bugatti. While the 57S sold for almost $30 million by a private buyer, the Bugatti company did not reduce its quality as they produce literally the most expensive sports cars you would find on the road these days. Billionaire-esque automobiles. 1952. Pegaso Z102. Tom Cotter, who was an expert when it came to finding some of the most epic automobiles that were being stored away in a barn or a garage or something related, came across a vehicle that was made in Spain but possessed a French body. It was not looking complete at all, but it wasn't rusting or falling apart. The 1952 Pegaso Z102 stands tall on the charts of rarity, which would be a major reason why you probably didn't know about it. But these beasts are rare, when it comes to rare things. With only 85 Pegasos in existence, this one is the 35th of the model. The full restoration of this vehicle is pretty much still ongoing, with the vehicle missing some vital parts that were not completely missing but just scattered about, like the Hemi 5.8 and the transaxle, which appear to be factory original. No one would have known about this vehicle if not for a viewer of the show, Barn Find Hunter, who called Tom from Southern California and informed him of a rare car he had stored in his garage. Powered by a V8 engine, featuring dry sump lubrication, the power went through a 5-speed non-synchromesh transaxle. With a 2.5-litre engine accompanied by multiple carburetors and an optional supercharger, the power discharged from the vehicle was about 175 to 360 horsepower, while reaching top speeds of about 151 miles per hour. And for the price range of the vehicle, while the specifications might vary from one another, it is safe to say that a Pegaso in good working condition with average specs would cost about $700,000 and could even get up to $1 million if a couple of things are added to it. Ferrari 250 GTO. For normal people, barn finds are as normal as they can be, but for car enthusiasts, it's way more than that. More than just finding an old car and reviving it, but understanding the dynamic of the legends of automobiles and what cars used to feel like in the time past. The Ferrari 250 GTO is one of the most exceptional vehicles ever created and is a real collector's item. And while some models have been sold in auctions for about $50 million, after a little bit of restoration, it was expected to fetch a couple of bucks. While possessing a 2.953 cubic centimetre Colombo FIF 12 engine, a 5-speed gearbox, and a Sergio Scaglietti designed body, a work of art and one of the most sought-after automobiles that gathered a significant amount of fame across the years of its activity and inactivity. Notable as a really good race car and one of the most exquisite of Ferraris. 1973, Ferrari Dino 246 GTS. This Ferrari was left all alone and abandoned, not just in a barn or any covering of sorts, but instead it was left in a backyard. One of the most exquisite and remarkable sports cars in the 70s, this Ferrari Dino was discovered, covered with dust all around and some kind of foliage on the bodywork. But in spite of all that, the beauty of the strong stallion crest on the steering wheel of the vehicle still stood out. The significant lines and mid-century engine design were what made the vehicle a standout among other stallions. A car that commanded such respect was not to be left in a poor state like that. So, a random individual took it upon himself to restore the vehicle by sourcing out original parts and replaceable components of the vehicle. The Ferrari Dino 246 GT was restored to its original beauty. While throwing out 190 horsepower at 7,600 RPM, the engine of the Dino was a 2.4-litre, 147.6 cubic inch DOHC Fire 6 engine with about 3.2-barrel Weber 40 DCF carburetors, not forgetting the 5-speed rear-wheel drive drivetrain. The vehicle accelerates from 0 to 60 in about 8.2 seconds. Ferrari filled out the initial twin-cam 2.0-litre mill to 2.4 litres, stretched the wheelbase a tad, and replaced the aluminum bodywork with steel to save costs. The 246 GT Coupe was born. not your average Mustang. Found in a Mexican scrapyard, this 1968 Ford Mustang GT390. Fastback was used specifically in the movie Bullitt, and is well notable for the car chases it was used to portray. After a period of time, the vehicle was found in a German scrapyard after being left there for a long period. The vehicle was initially sold off before it resurfaced and was identified as the stunt double used in the epic car chase. No one would have given the vehicle a second look at first, but then the chassis number of the vehicle was sent to a Ford chassis expert named Kevin Marty, and he identified that it was indeed the stunt Bullitt vehicle used in the movie. Since that time, the vehicle has undergone restoration. The vehicle is now on display at the ACM America's Car Museum. Legendary actor and car enthusiast Steve McQueen was piloting the vehicle when that chase scene was recorded. That scene left a mark on the heart of pop culture and the idea of cars in perspective. The vehicle lived on as a daily driver for the Kiernan family, and it ended up in their garage for years before it was resurrected and put on display at the ACM. Aston Martin DB4. This Aston Martin DB4 was discovered in an old shed after it had been left for a long period of time. The original owner of the vehicle left it in the woods in the 1970s and didn't move it at all. Talk about neglect of a gem. It was a pretty remarkable and beautiful car when it was first produced in the year 1958. The emerald-coloured beast was the first car to accelerate from 0 to 100 and back to 0 again in less than 30 seconds. It was built to be able to compete with other luxurious vehicles like the Lambos and the Ferraris. No doubt, the Aston Martin has always been a standout vehicle, and it has shown its strength in recent years. Even after 4 decades of inactivity and dormancy, the Aston Martin DB4 was still able to fetch a staggering $580,000 at an auction, highlighting the stature of classic and legendary vehicles. There are many barn finds out there, as several vehicles are still yet to be discovered. And with the engineers we have now, and the technology in today's world, any vehicle in whatever state could well be restored. If you love content like this, subscribe to this channel to never miss an update, and don't forget to like the video.